Every single day, people and businesses are making money by selling products. And here's the thing. Usually they're selling products that we probably didn't need. But even though we probably didn't need it, after listening to the marketing pitch, we think, I probably don't need this, but I really want it. And you see, that's the thing. Successful stores and successful businesses, they aren't just successful because of luck. They're successful because they understood what psychological triggers make a customer want to buy something. And they also understand how two people could be selling the exact same product, and yet everybody will flock to one store and want to buy it from there, even though they could have gone to the other store and bought it for a cheaper price. And so how do they know what these triggers are? Well, it is all thanks to psychology and behavioral science. And so in this video, we're going to go over 5 curious experiments which show us why people buy products and why they don't. And trust me, the results of some of these experiments, they're probably going to surprise you. Because when I first started studying behavioral consumer science, they certainly surprised me. Plus, if you own a business, such as an online store, I'm going to be giving you actionable tips on how you can implement these triggers for yourself. Experiment 1, the power of peer pressure. In San Marcos, California, a team of behavioral science researchers decided to do an experiment. They went around hanging messages on people's doorknobs that asked people to turn off their air conditioning and fans. 25% of messages said people should turn off their fans to help save the environment. 25% of messages said people should turn off their fans so that they could save $54 over the summer. 25% of messages said people should turn off their fans so that they could be socially responsible citizens by preserving energy. And 25% of messages said people should turn off their fans because 77% of their neighbors were using less power than them. The first 3 groups of houses saw no difference in their power usage. They kept using their fans and AC like normal, but it worked on the last group that were given the message about their neighbors. Their power usage drastically dropped. Turns out it is true, we do indeed want to keep up with the Joneses. As the study showed, possibly the biggest reason why people take action in life isn't because of themselves, it's because of others. That is why I recommend that other people do what I do, which is following up with the customer after the sale and getting them to leave a review. And if you've got an online business, be sure not to just encourage them to leave a text review, but also allow the option for them to submit a photo with it. That way, when other prospective customers see another customer enjoying their product, they will want what they have too. They will want to keep up with the Joneses, and luckily there are lots of apps available online that you can integrate into online businesses to help customers leave reviews. Experiment 2, the jam paradox. In 1995, Professor Lianga decided to try something in a gourmet California market. She set up a booth with a selection of nice jams for sale. Customers could come and taste test them before buying. After they tried a jam, they would all be given a $1 off coupon. Every few hours, she alternated how many jams were available. First, she started with 24 jams. A few hours later, she switched to showcasing just 6 and alternated between these 2 amounts. And she discovered something. When there were 24 jams, customers would on average taste test 2 jams. And then, even after switching to just 6 jams, customers would on average again taste test 2 jams. When there were 24 jams, she garnered a large crowd. More people stopped by. But out of all the people that taste tested the 24 jams, only 3% decided to buy one. Whereas when she switched to showing off just 6 jams, her crowds were 50% smaller, yet despite the smaller crowd, they spent far more money. 30% of taste testers ended up buying a bottle of jam. This is an example of the paradox of choice, and the reason why it's referred to as a paradox is because of the fact that generally people think, well, if we've got more options, that's better, right? Well, clearly that isn't true. Over time, the paradox of choice has been extensively studied, and what the studies have shown is that it's not quite a clear-cut case of, less options good, more options bad. Instead, what has been shown consistently is that if we purchase a product that has lots of different options, such as lots of different colors or lots of different flavors, then the overall satisfaction after purchasing the product is usually much less. And the reason is obvious. Think about it. Let's say that I have 10 jams for sale and all of them are a variation of different similar flavored stone fruit. I've got an apricot flavored jam, I've got a peach flavored jam, I've got a jam that's apricot and peach flavored, and so on. Stone fruits often have similar flavors, and so for a lot of people, they like them all. But in this case here, you can't buy all the jams, you can only buy one jam. So you tentatively choose the apricot jam. Well, what tends to happen is that consumers who bought the apricot jam go, gee, I wonder if I would have preferred the peach jam. I wonder if I would have liked that one more. Basically, they experience FOMO, the fear of missing out. And so that is why, while offering choices isn't necessarily a bad thing, smart businesses are careful about when they offer them. When you choose to offer a choice to a customer, you need to make sure that each choice is meaningful. That is why if I give you two choices, a white t-shirt or a black t-shirt, both options are so drastically different that it makes the choice more meaningful. You are more likely to feel confident that you made the right choice and not experience FOMO. Experiment 3, the violinist at the Metro. Joshua Bell is one of the most famous violinists in the world. Today he is the music director at the Academy of St. Martin's in the Fields, one of the most prestigious orchestras in the world. He has won 3 Grammy Awards and has been nominated for a 4th award. In 2007, Bell and the Washington Post conducted a behavioral science experiment. For 45 minutes, Bell performed a busking performance at the entrance of a Washington, D.C. metro station in a baseball cap and plain clothes. Now, keep in mind that just 2 days prior, Bell had hosted a performance at a theatre at Boston that completely sold out, with tickets costing on average $100 each. Not only that, but Bell was performing with his signature violin, and this violin is over 300 years old and is worth millions of dollars. Bell performed 6 very complex pieces of music, and as he performed, 1,097 people passed him by, and as they did, only 7 people stopped by to listen, while 20 people tipped him money but kept walking by. In total, he made just $32, $20 of that coming from one woman who recognized him. This is one of the most famous behavioral science studies, and it shows us something very important. Every single day, we have so much stuff that is coming into our brains. So much information, so much content, just so much stuff. And the only way that our brains are able to handle this overload of information is by making assumptions about it based on the context that it comes in. If you saw a bunch of kids drinking alcohol at a frat party, you'd probably assume it was cheap liquor. But if you saw a group of young professionals drinking a cocktail in an exclusive speakeasy bar, you'd probably assume the opposite. And so what happened was, even though Bell was playing astonishing music that would normally be extremely expensive to get the privilege to listen to, busy commuters saw where he was playing, how he was dressed, and used the context to determine that he wasn't worth their time rather than actually evaluating what he was offering. And this can be applied in many ways, such as with Instagram influencer marketing. On Instagram, stores and brands can purchase Instagram shoutouts from Instagram pages. Those pages will then post your ad on their page for the agreed amount of time. At first, everybody was obsessed with buying shoutouts from general mass appeal pages like Instagram meme pages because, hey, they had 1 million followers. That's good, right? Well, actually, if you were selling this niche travel product, you'd probably have much greater success posting your ad to micro-influencers who only post travel content, even if you paid the same price. A micro-influencer is someone with just tens of thousands of followers who usually focuses on something specific, like travel. And more businesses are focusing on micro-influencers rather than big general pages because they now understand that where your ad is placed is very important because consumers are going to judge that ad based on its context. Experiment 4, the Ross-False consensus effect. In 1987, Professor Lee Ross from the Stanford University decided to conduct an experiment. He took a group of participants and had them read a story in which a conflict occurred. Afterwards, they were told that there were 2 ways to resolve that conflict, option A and option B, and they were given 3 tasks. Task 1, guess which of the 2 options most people would choose. Task 2, state which option they would choose. Task 3, describe what type of person would choose option A or option B. The results were clear. Most people said that others would choose the same option that they chose. And when describing what type of person would choose the option that they didn't, they would make extreme judgments on their personalities. And I bring this trigger up not because it's happening in customers, but because it's actually happening in business owners. And if they're not aware of it, you know what? They could lose a lot of money. For example, several times in this channel, I've talked about how I and several other successful marketers sell products in our own stores without price matching our competitors. And whenever I say that this is possible, I'll get a swarm of comments of people saying, "Oh, Sarah, I always go and research the lowest price for the products I'm buying. Stop giving bad advice." But you know what? Those people, they're wrong. A huge percentage of the population impulsively purchase products without price checking, especially Generation Z. Over 80% of them admitted that they are prone to impulsively buying products. And so successful businesses are aware of this cognitive bias that we have, that we think that people do the same things as we do, and make sure that they tailor their marketing to what their customer wants and not what they want. Experiment 5. Memories control our choices. In 1965, a study was done on a group of 152 participants. They were asked a question. If you open up a book and choose a page at random, what is more likely? Scenario A, that you will find more words that start with the letter K. Or scenario B, you will find more words where K is the third letter rather than the first. The participants were also asked to guess the difference as a ratio. How often does scenario A happen compared to scenario B? The hypothesis of the study was that it's much easier to remember what words start with K, like kangaroo, or kittens, or kites. Therefore, people would overestimate it. And the researchers were right. 105 people guessed that more words started with the letter K, with the median ratio being 2:1 for words that start with K compared to words where K is the third letter, when in reality, it's the opposite. You are far more likely to find words where K features as the third letter rather than the first. And this phenomena, it has a name. Availability heuristic. And it's a mental shortcut that most of us do each and every day, that smart marketers and businesses take advantage of each and every day. If we can remember something, we think that it happens far more often than it actually does. And here's how smart marketers take advantage of this to make more money. Now, you see this avocado slicer here? The most successful video ads for it always start with something important. They start off by reminding the prospective customer about how in the past, cutting, slicing, and dicing avocados has been annoying. And the reason for that is because this will trigger most people to think back and remember an incident where they found cutting an avocado to be frustrating. And this is a curious trigger on our brains because you see, even if we usually find slicing and dicing avocados to be absolutely fine, the moment that you remember an incident where you did find it frustrating, the availability heuristic mental shortcut makes you think that it happens far more often than it actually does, which of course means you're way more likely to buy this. And so that is why successful marketing campaigns will usually start out not by talking about the features of a product, but rather highlighting how the product could have solved a past issue or made something even better to trigger you into, well, reminiscing about it. So, did you learn something new? If so, be sure to subscribe and click that little notification bell next to it so that you don't miss out on any of our videos. And if you would like to learn even more about sales psychology, be sure to click the video that I'll have here on this page.